All right, welcome to the next video on our journey with Pippin and Merry, and we're with the Ents at Entmoot, and as you can see, we have a quick beam there, and we are going to attempt to get to Isengard in this video, which is where everybody goes. The Ents storm Isengard. Oh, look, there's a butterfly, isn't that pretty? Ents storm Isengard, and I think we go this way. I have never done this particular journey before in Middle-earth, so it's going to be interesting to see how it comes out. But there is a way to do it, I think. So we're going to give it a try. And in this video, what we're going to talk about is Game of Thrones. And I'm going to tell you the very moment that I think Game of Thrones, I knew it wasn't going to work at the end. So obviously the books ran out. And we're still waiting for the next book. This was a long time ago, and we're still waiting for the next book. We'll talk about that in another episode. But we are really talking in our Middle-earth journeys. We're talking a little bit of pop culture. We're talking a little bit of TV, particularly fantasy, science fiction type TV, which is kind of cool, but also books and things. So anyway, we're going to head up this way, and we're going to see if we can get ourselves to Isengard. Take the hobbits to Isengard. Take the halflings to Isengard is what the orcs had to do. They failed. Let's see if we can succeed. Let's get the hobbits. The hobbits to Isengard. Anyway, Game of Thrones, what did you think? You'll have to wait till right at the end, and I'll tell you when I think it all went off the rails. But, I mean, on the whole, great books. Really enjoyed reading the books, and, of course, because they had good books, they decided that was a good story to make into a TV show. Their mistake, I think, was making it into a TV show before the entire series had been finished in its writing, because I think that's probably maybe what has ended up with Game of Thrones never being finished. And it may never be finished because I think our writer is not keen. He's doing all sorts of other stuff. And it doesn't look to me as if he's focused on the job. He keeps saying that he's got most of the writing done, but he keeps not publishing the next novel in the series. So, of course, the books ran out, and J.R.R. Martin is the name of the guy who writes them, and he kind of stepped back from. I mean, he gave the outline of the story to the makers of the TV show, and then they finished it. But, I mean, early doors, as it followed the books, it had to cut a few characters out of the books. Obviously, you can have way more characters in a book than you can in a TV show. And some of the important characters from the books were kind of merged or disappeared altogether from the TV show. But on the whole, it was pretty good, and it followed the books pretty well and gave us a pretty good story. And I think that the filming of it and the dragons and the special effects and the casting were all pretty on the button. Now, here's where we have to see if we can go right, I think. We're still in Fangorn, but we're just on the very edge of Fangorn, and we are going to try and go up this valley here, I think, to try and get to Isengard over the back of these mountains. Isengard's on the other side of these mountains, I think. And I think that the journey is going to take us over there. But we have to figure out how to do it, because I'm not sure. Looks like lots of cliffs anyway, so it doesn't look obviously easy at the moment. But, yes. Saruman sent his army off to fight the Battle of Helm's Deep, and he basically forgot about the Ents. He knew they were there, but he thought they weren't going to do anything. So let's see if we can go. Oh, this looks like a way up. So we're going to try and go up here. Is that a way out? Looks like there might be a valley or a path up there. We're going to go and see. Because to be honest, I've never done this. In the game, I've entered Isengard from a different direction, over the fords of the Isen, so I'm not sure how this is going to work. There may be a way through here, though. Is that what I'm seeing? Maybe I'm seeing that. Okay, so yes, Game of Thrones. Good stuff. And again, spoilers warning for Game of Thrones. If you haven't seen it, stop watching now, because I'm going to talk about it. And does it look like we can get through here? Let's go up. Oh, I see a path. I might see a path. Is that a path? So we're going to head up here. And yes, so there's a couple of differences between the book and the movie in terms of plot, or at least plot, because when Jon Snow is killed in the TV shows, he comes back using a bit of fire magic from the Red Woman, and she revives him, but he's also dead in the books, and so far we don't know what's going to happen to him in the book series, because Martin has said that dead is dead for Jon Snow, so that's kind of interesting. And of course, Catelyn Stark is still alive in the books. Well, she's not alive, but she's been revived. She wasn't killed, and there's a kind of a ghost of Catelyn Stark running around in the books, which is kind of interesting. But in general, the main plot follows the books. I think this is the way. All right, we've landed on our feet, as it were. This is the way for the hobbits to get to Isengard, and I think we're just going to go up here. So they all landed on their feet, and that was pretty good. The story was good. The first series held very closely to the first book, and as the books went along, there wasn't too much of a problem. Tyrion, who announced at the beginning of Series 7 that he was a very good judge of character, we'll come to that in a minute, is a clever counselor. Now, I really enjoyed all the characters. One of the things that really puts me off some TV shows is that sometimes you just get one character who really doesn't sit well with you, and because it's a hard thing to do. It's very, very hard to cast a show with characters that are going to be acceptable in every single role to any particular individual. You know, it's the old, you can please some of the people all of the time and all of the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time. It's that kind of thing. And it just is the way it is. So, but for Game of Thrones, I thought pretty much all the characters worked very well. Some casting was absolutely look at this, guys. Look at this. Going to get a shot of this, I think, for the old. Here we are. That looks a bit, to me, like we have reached Isengard the back way. So we're going to run down here and get a shot of Isengard from the cliff up here, and we'll see. Is this a good spot to take a picture? We'll take a picture for the old thumbnail. I'm told you have to have a good thumbnail, but in the end, is that good? What do you reckon? Is that a good one? Let's go for that. Oh, get that off. I think the thumbnails don't actually take a picture of the cursor. But anyway, let's. Sometimes the video doesn't catch the cursor either. I don't know whether. Sometimes I'm talking about the cursor pointing at things. And anyway, the Ents come charging down here, and they invaded Isengard. And you'll see that Isengard has already been destroyed by the Ents in this time position we're in with my character in the game. So we're going to go down and we're going to see if we can meet Treebeard. He should be hanging about here somewhere, but we might run into a few other people first. But we have Isengard. As you can see, it's all flooded in there. There's water flooding all over the place. There's smokes coming out of the Isengard. Very much end of the battle, and just about time for the guys from Helm's Deep to come along and see what's going on and talk to Saruman, who in the books does not die here the way he dies in the movies. Another spoiler there, by the way, so just watch out for that. It's not that big a deal. I mean, he's defeated, so that's a spoiler too. I don't know. The warning's in the text somewhere, I'm sure. I'll put it up. But anyway, we're going to head down here, and we're going to get ourselves into Isengard. So anyway, the books ran out, and it was left to the show creators to come up with some kind of... Where are we now? To come up with some kind of continuation of the story using some notes from Martin. And I think to most people's minds, they failed abysmally. The biggest problem, I think, is that if they were sticking to a story by Martin, then I think the same problem's going to apply to the books. Now, of course, he's now got the benefit of hindsight, and he's seen what the stories come out like with regard to the TV show, and maybe he'll change it. But then maybe he won't write it at all. I guess if he has to do a major rethink, maybe he'll just not bother. That could be one of the things that he thinks about. So anyway, we're heading down here to get to the entrance of Isengard. It's all going to be over there somewhere. What have we got up here? I have a feeling that one of the Ents is hanging about over here somewhere, but I'm not quite sure. It might be Quickbeam again in the story. I don't see anybody see an Ent over there anywhere. See an Ent? It's a bit of a pain being a hobbit because we can't see over a lot of stuff. Anyway, we're going to run down here. Anyway, so they started off Series 7 and things were going all right, I suppose. I mean, I think that suddenly Daenerys decided she wasn't going to kill a whole lot of people and was talked out of it. And I think that was very unwise. She should have just taken her army and gone to defeat Cersei in King's Landing, but she didn't. And she was talked out of it. So they came up with those kind of mad schemes to work around the problem. But that wasn't really where it went off the rails. That all was reasonable up to a point, I suppose. Not the way I would have done it, but reasonable up to a point. And they got their armies kind of wiped out. They got their fleet wiped out. The number of times Daenerys' armies in the last few episodes of Game of Thrones, the last series, the second last series, and the third and the last series, the number of times Daenerys' armies have been wiped out and then suddenly came back to life again is pretty amazing, really. Loads of battles where they all get completely destroyed. The Dothraki, I think, are kind of immortal. They just get destroyed and then they come back to life again with a big army. And you don't have to send boats to get more or anything. They just show up. So, yes. That was a bit of an issue. We're going to try, and we don't want to swim across this river. There are kind of steep bits where you can't get out. There's a bridge down here somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. We might be able to swim across there, though. I'm kind of bored with swimming in these videos. Okay, so, yes. Anyway, they have a go at trying to defeat Cersei with diversionary tactics and going off and trying to starve King's Landing and stuff like that. But Jon Snow shows up and says, hang on a second. We've got this whole Army of the Dead thing going on, and we have to deal with them or else everybody's going to die, which is a perfectly reasonable thing to say. And so they held a conflab at Dragonstone. Jon and our great judge of character, Tyrion, and the rest of them. And they hold a conflab at Dragonstone with Daenerys. And they come up with basically the moment where it all went wrong, where you knew that the writers had no idea what they were doing. And it was the moment when Tyrion said, I'm going to suggest that we take one of the dead to Cersei. Totally insane plan. And his judge of character totally off the rails. So up until that point, Tyrion had been a clever character, coming up with some good ideas and a bit of solid thinking. At this point, he had left the realm of reason completely. So something, essentially Tyrion became a stupid character at that point. We might as well collect the stable.
I do not know if we will survive this onslaught.
Yeah, well, yes. Okay, so, yes. So we're heading into Isengard. Here it is. We'll take another shot in here. Look at this. Look at this. We'll get into our Hobbit's head, maybe, for this shot. There's Isengard. Oh, I like that one. Let's go and see if I can find Treebeard. He must be in here somewhere, you would think. Might get quite deep in here. Don't want to end up having to swim. But yes. Anyway, Tyrion left from being a clever character, turned out to be an utterly stupid one because he knew his sister. And he should have known that there's absolutely no way she was going to fall for that. Even if they did show a dead zombie dude to Cersei, she was going to twist everything and turn it to her own advantage. She wasn't going to side with everybody else or call a ceasefire while they went off to sort things out. That was never going to happen. And Tyrion should have known that. And it was an insane kind of plan, but they lost a dragon over the whole thing, and maybe losing a dragon is pretty handy because evening up the odds with the army of the dead was, give the dragons, even up those odds between the dragons, Cersei's dragons, and the dead, king of the dead. That makes the battle a bit more interesting. But then, yes. So here we go. Steps of Isengard. Nobody here. Is there anybody here? There it is. Isengard and eagles or something. And we've got to where we wanted to go. Here we are at Isengard. And we'll have a look out. I thought there might be some guys around here to talk to, but there aren't. But anyway, there we go. We've got Merry and Pippin to Isengard, which is where they meet up with the rest of the guys. So our next journey is going to be from where the orcs did battle in vain, and Aragorn and Gimli head for Edoras. In the meantime, I'll tell you exactly when that moment was in Game of Thrones. It was 24 minutes into Series 7, Episode 5. And if you go there, you'll find Tyrion saying, "Let's show a zombie to my sister and then she'll be all nice and good to us." And it was never going to work. And the Tyrion of the previous series would have known that, and he didn't. There you go. There's my take on the whole thing. Then everything went from bad to worse. But otherwise, up until that point, it was a pretty good show. I really enjoyed it. But it just shows you that no matter how good your show is, you've got to have it end properly. And I think that what we found with Game of Thrones is that if you're going to make a show about a series of books, make sure the writers completed the books before you start your first shot, before you start shooting the first episode. That's my advice to all you people out there who are making videos and TV shows and things like that. Make sure the book is finished. Luckily for us, Tolkien's finished this book. So we should be able to get to the end of this story after many, many, many journeys. Okay, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And give it a like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. And I'll see you in the next video.